All right, I'm opening the meeting. This is a regular meeting, Moose Lake City Council, Wednesday, March 13th, 2024 at 4 p.m. And the first item is the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank our guests for being here today. The next item on the agenda is approval of our agenda. Do we have any additions, subtractions, changes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to the consent agenda. This is 2A, the minutes. Number 1, the regular city council meeting for February 14th, 2024. Number 2, the planning commission meeting for February 27th, 2024. And number 3, the special city council meeting on March 7th, 2024. Do you have any discussion on the minutes or corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes? So moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 2B, the financial reports. Number 1 is the city accounts payable for February 2024. Number 2 is the city financial statements for February 2024. And number 3 is the liquor store profit loss statements for February 2024. Have any questions or comments on the financial reports?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. That brings us to number 3, the public comment. This time is reserved for comments from the public on matters not listed on the agenda. Please keep comments to 3 minutes. Anyone from the public? I'm just going to make one statement during this period. That's not an agenda item, but there's a rumor that came to me that the city's going to sell the liquor store. And I just want to put that out to the community that that is not true. I don't know where that came from or why that would come about, but no, we're not selling the Muni. That's total rumor. I don't know what that's about, but anyway. With that, moving on to number 4, departmental reports. This is for a interim police chief, Chad. I don't think he's here tonight. This is a department report for February 2024. This is on page 38. I think as you can see, our total number of calls for service was 110. We had 111 last month. 24 were business checks, 28 extra patrols, 5 traffic stops, 3 community community engagement. Those were in the last 8 months. Calls to respond, 2 assists to other agencies, 44 calls for service, 3 medicals. And the rest of the report is there. The next is the pie where it talks about where the responses were, where they came from, where you're going, and all the, I think there's 3 pages of the call numbers and stuff. Any questions that we can take for the chief? Very good. We'll move on to 4B, the city superintendent, Phil, department report for February 2024.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Finance Director McKeon. Water department will start their month of February city distributed 5.4 million gallons of water in the city in the month of February. The weather continues to hold. We will be doing hydrant flushing and belt exercising at the end of the month. Sewer department collected 9.7 million gallons of wastewater month of February. We're still working through our new NPDES permit. It's going well. It's looking a lot better than the last one we had before. So we're still picking away at that. The 2024 sanitary sewer lining project that's currently being planned. The televising and printing for that was done today. We'll have reports and records on that in the next few days, and we'll get them to the engineers to finalize that project. The treatment facility, we're right in the middle of our spring discharge. Things are going as planned. Everything is for the most part moving along pretty well there. Street department, right-of-way clearing still taking place. Pothole filling as always. I did hear a rumor Blacktop plants are going to be opening up in about a month-ish, and then ready mix plants will be open in about 2 weeks. So we should start doing some concrete repair, some blacktop repair to follow that up behind that. Cemeteries were super quiet this last month. Campground bathhouse renovation is now completed. The arena ice is actually getting removed tomorrow. Recycling center is open and running. Safety training, multiple departments have turned in all their training records, so we are good for that for 2024. There are a few left that we have to get in yet, but I've been in contact with those individuals and they're working on it. So other than that, any questions?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
You know I would have one, right?
You always do.
You made a trip to look at a facility for possible pond, to help with pond capacity.
Sure. So I actually went to the Minnesota Rural Water Trade Show to talk to a bunch of vendors for aerated ponds. And what that is, it's an application to add rapid air to your ponds to make your, essentially to try to get, to raise your capacity faster level, meaning that you can treat that wastewater at a faster rate. I am going to be making a few trips later this spring on site to a few different places to kind of check some of those ideas out and see what it looks like. Some of the information I got back already is, it's kind of going to be hit or miss whether it's going to work for our facility in that situation, but we're going to keep digging into it just to keep our options open and see what other ways we can improve the I&I and make future or continue progress on that for cities like.
You know, when they do that aeration, do they do just on one pond, or you gotta do it to multiple?
They do it, every situation's different. Yep, every situation's different. Some of them do it primary, some do it secondaries. Ours would go in primaries as we have chemical feed in their secondaries. So, yep, every situation's different. But.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
Yep.
Under 4C, Municipal Liquor Store, Department Report, February 2024.
Yeah, you can see, although small sample size, through our profit loss statement, we're doing really well in the liquor store to start the year. Revenue, we're up over $7,000 over previous year, and previous year was a good year. We've also spent less, down about $26,000, a little over $26,000 less in cost as well. So Mari's doing a great job. I attribute a lot of that to her finishing the pricing suggestions we got from Brenda from the MMBA, and also the weather. Honestly, it's been really nice, so people are getting out and doing things. So another thing I should bring up is we're still moving ahead with Brewfest. The chamber would like to do Brewfest during Agate Days at the Muni, so we're working on logistics of that. I do have the date, which would be the 13th, and it would go from 5 to 8 p.m. over Agate Days. A lot of things still need to be worked out, like parking, ice, and we are working on a promotion for a passport type book that would drive them into the liquor store after they go through the Brewfest line. So yeah, good stuff there. Any questions on that?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Moving on to number D, technology/library update.
Yeah, so yesterday actually we installed some more server devices, got them online, and there was no downtime for any department, so that was good. I actually worried about that a little bit, but went off without a hitch. So that big project is moving forward in the right direction. I have been working through some issues with the library. It's lost Wi-Fi. I'm working with VC3 to try to figure out if it's a configuration issue, if it's a issue with the company, or what's happening. I don't know a whole lot about the Wi-Fi in the building. I know the AEOA has their own, the library has their own, the city has their own, the township might even have their own, all in this compressed, and the DMV has their own, all compressed in this little area. And there don't seem to be a lot of records about what to do and who to call and how to fix it. So, I mean, we are chipping away at that. I know where the problem lies now, so it's just a matter of getting it configured the right way. So I am working on that.
Great. Any questions? Thanks, Ryan, appreciate it.
Yep.
Moving on to E, the city engineer, Short Elliott Hendrickson, excuse me.
The minutes from our engineering report are in the packet starting at page 43, and Matt will be presenting later on.
Right, and any questions through the month to read through them? I don't know if anyone had a chance, but if you do in the next couple of days and have questions on it, call the office, please. Moving on to 4F, Chamber of Commerce updates. Brian, you want to hit that? Or actually, Taylor could hit that for it. We don't want to leave you out today.
Ryan's got it.
Okay.
They are doing great. They anticipated a deficit, but they are closing the gap with activities that they are doing through their events. I don't have it with me, but Michelle has a new calendar of events, so perhaps we can get that and share that at the next council meeting. But she's doing a wonderful job as their executive director. Their memberships are still down a little bit, but they are gaining ground in that area, which is nice.
I think they got 120 members.
Yeah,
And was it 15 new members?
it's something close to that.
So so it's building up again. There was a little fall down during the COVID years, and now it's back up to 120 and going above, I think, what they had actually prior. So,
One thing that they always struggle with is volunteers, so if anybody wants to volunteer in any of the committees or any of the special events they host, they will definitely take you.
there's one event they brought up that the police department has put on, and that is the community?
National Night Out.
National Night Out. That's always done by the department. So that's something that we hopefully can work on. It doesn't have to be, what would you call a safety related, or fire department, police department, or ambulance doing it. It can be a community group. It was brought to the chamber, but nobody stepped forward. But it's something that was really well, how would you say, attended in the last couple of years. And it'd be nice to have that event again somehow. That's something that we'll have to talk about and talk to the chamber about and stuff. Unless we can talk Ryan into.
Well, I agree, it's a great event, something that should be hosted. Just through limited research, it looks like anyone can really put that on. I think Taylor said Barnum has their community ed through their school to do theirs. You just need someone to step forward, I guess, to ensure that it keeps going.
So if any of you have any ideas, bring them to the office, please. Be a nice event to keep going. All right, moving on to number 5, previously discussed business. I have none. Is anything council? I'm guessing nothing. Moving on to number 6, new business, 6A. the City of Moose Lake WWTF Capacity Review Memo. Matt from SEH is here tonight. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councilors. Good to see you all again. Hope you're doing all right. Looks painful. I was here, I believe, in October, presenting our updated pond capacity memo. Since that time, the staff had asked us to update it again in the end of December. A couple of reasons. One, the last 3 months of the year are usually pretty dry, so it will help things out. Two, it will put it on an annual cycle instead of randomly having it in September or October like we have had. And three, as the council was looking at committing flows in the future for other projects, it would just seem like a timely thing to do. So the memo that you would have been provided is dated January 16th. Again, it took into account the last 3 months. Just a couple of background reminders. At 80% of your pond capacity, the PCA requires that we have some kind of plan in place. At 90%, they can start critiquing any permit extensions or additional flow permits that you put forward. So we've always been trying to get kind of under that 90% range. We've been running around 93% previously. So what I will tell you is since last year, or even since October, we've gone from a 90%, well, historically it was at 93, we went down to 90, we're now down at about 87% hydraulic capacity. What that means to you is that's an increase of about 54 more homes you could technically put onto your pond system. The reason I say that is your I&I lining projects are working. We've seen somewhere in the 93%, now we're down to 87. So that's good news. I think I reminded the council in October, at some point when the hydraulic capacity and the load capacity get to be the same, then your lining projects are not going to really give you that much benefit anymore. So right now you're at 87, 88% of hydraulic and 77 of load. As those go like this, that is the reason, one of the reasons why Phil has been looking at that rapid air and other methods. So once we get to that point, there's other things that we'd have to look at besides just lining projects. So as I kind of mentioned before, we are now down to 87% of hydraulic capacity, which is good, 77% organic. What that means is there's about 16,000 gallons you could dedicate and still be right at that 90% threshold. That's not a hard number, that's just sort of a goal that between us and staff that we've had to keep under that 90%. My understanding is that you had a special meeting here recently and dedicated 5,000 gallons, contingent on some things, but based on that, I would tell you have about 11,000 gallons left to be able to dedicate and keep under that 9,000 gallons, or that 90%, excuse me. And it was asked of me, Alyssa asked me to just remind you the housing development that you are working on right now as a city would look to have about 9,300 gallons in the fully built out. So you're, about 1,800 gallons left to get to 90% if you dedicated all 9,300 to that housing development. So obviously that's up to the council, but just a couple reminders there of what's out there. So that's really all I had. I wasn't planning to read through the whole memo, but I wanted to give you the high-level summary, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Council?
So that would that be a recommendation then, setting that aside since we would have that?
Well, I'm going to request that we set that amount aside for our
Okay,
development.
yeah, just thought it would be good to hear from the engineer.
Well, obviously, I'm not the council, but I know that you're working on a housing development and trying to get it moving forward. So common sense would tell me you should dedicate or at least hold something aside for that. Otherwise, you might get yourself in a
Absolutely.
position where you're moving forward with the development that you can't permit. So
This is recorded, just so you know, I'm saying. I appreciate it.
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. So along with that, I am going to request that we make a motion to dedicate 9,300 gallons. Phil, is that? I want you to confirm that?
Yeah. I thought yeah.
10,000, or you can
10,000.
say 10,000?
Yep.
Dedicate 10,000 gallons to that housing development.
I will make that motion.
Do I have a second? I'll second. And I'll open it up for questions, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. 68. So that will leave us, how much beyond that if we dedicate 10,000?
Well, you did 10,000 just now, and my understanding is you did 5,000 in a previous meeting, so that leaves you about 1,200, 1,300 gallons. So.
Okay, very good, thank you. Moving on to 6B, this is the liquor license discussion, and I believe we have, would you like to come forward?
Would you like me to read it? Okay. Moose Lake City Council meeting. When the group from El Mexico came to look at the arts building, it was thought that they would want to open another location in Moose Lake. They would only do that if they could get a liquor license to sell margaritas and a few different types of beer, such as Modelo, Corona, and a few others. After the visit, Ada and Ruben, I believe that's you guys, yep, contacted the owner of the building, Mike Anderson, to discuss a possible lease. We decided to move forward on our own and break away from the El Mexico group. In doing so, we ended up with a 2-year lease with Mike. We got our licenses for food service, insurance, began setting up the restaurant to open, and all the utility services put in place. Created our own corporation with the state under the name Barco Inversions LLC. Doing business as El Elche, did I get that right? El Elche. Mexican restaurant, which in Spanish means the moose. Cool. And applied for the liquor license with the city. We did not catch the fact that the application still had El Mexico as the applicant on the city paperwork. So we needed to be here today to explain the reason for the change of name on the application. We are ready to open as soon as the liquor license paperwork is completed and look forward to bringing our traditional food to the community. We feel that we are going to create a new destination and give people a reason to come to Moose Lake, as we have seen once the El Mexico opened in Stanscombe.
Okay, you have the license.
I do, and it's in the packet as well. I mean, so this was discovered through the liquor license application process. That the motion we made in January was for El Mexico, and obviously that has changed. So I believe what they're looking for and what they would need is a new motion in order to make this license go through.
So in order to get the license, that had to be coordinated with the state, which you have already done. So the next step we would have to do is correct the motion that we made.
And then we would file the application, which is a quick turnaround of about 2 days, 2 business days.
And there is no other business in this LLC, it's just your own, there's no other members in the LLC, correct?
Owners.
Is my husband and my sister-in-law and me.
Okay, no one else?
No.
Okay. So council, open for discussion?
I should also note that Mike is willing to get on the phone if we want to speak to him too. We can try and call him.
But our understanding right now is that he is not on the LLC.
Right, he's just the owner of the
Just the
building.
owner that they are renting from.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Were they asking for the same alcohol?
Yes, the license,
So
Is-
margaritas and the Mexican beer, is that what
it is a full liquor license. We checked on that,
Oh,
the
yes.
state won't give partial. So the next, once we correct that motion, then we'll have to have that, we will have to send that in to have that corrected at state. Thank you. Action by the council?
Did you have your concerns answered on this, Doug?
Yeah, one, the owners are here. That makes me feel a lot better, understanding that it's a change in the name. I just want to be very clear that this is what we're doing, that it's the same type of motion, that it stays only with these owners while they are in business
Correct.
on that location, and that does not go with the building.
Correct. And you can put that into your motion with the correct name for the business.
Yeah, that'd be my motion with the name. Can you say the last name again? L what? What's she? How do you say that name? Okay, what she said. Sorry. I would try it, but I would butcher everything worse than he did.
En English is Damour. Damour restaurant.
Okay.
The moose, yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So we will, now this paperwork, we will complete and get it into the state and then notify you. Or will it come back to them from the state? Do you know, Ryan? Or Taylor?
Being that we've never done this,
We will
I think we will
find
know
out.
first, probably.
I think they'll send it to us and then I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been approved, so thank you. You're welcome to stay or you can leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck with your business.
Thank you.
Moving on to 6C. This is Holistic Wellness Services. Brianna is here. Adult use cannabis legislation discussion.
Hi, I'm Brianna Crotto. I'm co-owner of Holistic Wellness Services. We've been your local hemp CBD provider, farm seed to sale producer here in Moose Lake. We started in 2019 and we've been on the corner down there where the old, who was it? Veterinary clinic used to be over there. A little bit of my background, I'm an 03 graduate of Moose Lake. I was born and raised in the area. Went away for college and traveled. Came back and met my husband. And I was in the medical field at that point, working in surgery and orthopedics and getting to know that world because in my life I've always wanted to care for people. Same with my husband. And it just being in that medical field and that environment and learning that before and after surgery and how people are, we really wanted to offer something natural because plants are awesome. And so we're here to really just be an open communication channel. We strive in our business to be educational, to be community oriented, to be transparent, and to really just help people understand the difference in all of cannabis. We've been operating under the hemp 2018 Farm Bill. And we're really good at looking at the regulations and the laws and where we have to be in the upkeep with that since 2018. we always kind of joke that 1 year in cannabis or hemp is 5. So it's like 20 years, but not really, but there's a lot of learning to it, a lot of learning curve. And so now with the new legalization coming in, we just really wanted to, hey, we're here and we're educational conduit for our bankers. We go through Northview Bank in Barnum. We started out here. They didn't want to do all the they had to come out to the farm and they had to check our COAs and that kind of stuff. And so Barnum took us on, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work being in the upcoming of cannabis. And so they were willing to work with us, and we've been with them ever since. It's been about 3 years now, 3-4 years. But that's what we want to be for you guys. We want to be a resource for you. We want to have this open communication. We are here to help people. And it's just what I've seen, FDA disclosure. It's not, we don't say cures, does anything, no curing, providing, anything, what am I trying to say? The FDA.
No claims.
Yeah, no claims that cannabis can cure anything. But what we are seeing as a personal business is just the benefits for people to have something natural that doesn't have to be an everyday thing, that can be an as needed. I think the really cool thing that the state did was, besides the hemp and the CBD end of it, which is awesome, there's a lot of education. So if I talk a lot and I'm just trying to hit bullet points for you, but there's a huge difference between CBD and THC. And so being able to start off with the CBD and have that education to be able to give to people, and then ease in with the THC, because we all know the history of THC. What the state did with that 5 milligrams that we are allowed in edibles and drinks now, came in 22, that was a really nice way. It's called a microdosing because it's so low, and you don't have the big overtake that you can have with higher potency stuff. So it was a nice way to ease it in and to help educate people with it, and teach them how, hey, start low and slow, depends on what you're looking for, that kind of deal. So I'd say the things that that are facts for us is we just care. We care a lot about people. We care a lot about helping them with their mental health, with their stress, with their sleep. We care about our community. We do a lot. I have a lot of friends. I grew up here, so I know a lot of people. But through the school system, I have 5 kids now, and one's a stepson, goes to Barnum, but 4 girls go over to Moose Lake. And so one of my sisters is a teacher there. We try to help and donate with the new year, with the class trips and that kind of stuff. And then we also have done educational classes for the community. My husband is a nurse by trade, and we really like to use his medical knowledge to be able to correlate with the endocannabinoid system and how plants work with your body, and the educational part. And then we also really care about the rules and the regulations and following them. There's a lot of wild west going on out there, and it has been for the last 5 years dealing with hemp, but now it's a whole other world of cannabis. And so making sure that we're following the rules, we're keeping up on them, and we're on the email list, and we're emailing our questions. And so those, I think, are our biggest things that we really care about. With the business, we rent as well down on the corner, and our landlords are awesome. They're very pro us, and they're giving us leeway with the building and what we want to do with it. Sorry, Greg, I'm not trying to not turn over here and see you. And so we're planning on staying with that building if you allow us to, with your regulations that you will be providing for us. So I think I better just open it up for questions, otherwise I won't stop. So.
I think as I mentioned to you, are working on city ordinances with it because of what the state passed.
Yes,
We've been going slow with it.
yes.
We've been kind of watching what other cities are doing and kind of gathering information ourselves. And Brian, if you have any more, I think that's about it right now.
Well, I mean, I would say the state is behind probably your guys' knowledge with everything, and they're trying to ramp things up. I think their task force, that they call it, at the state level is finally done, and so more licenses, I don't know if regulations will change, but there's probably you guys' knowledge, the states, and I'm probably down here somewhere, so I'm trying to ramp up and learn a little bit as well. But yeah, there's quite a bit there
There
when you're
is.
talking about ordinances, and we want to make sure we get it right,
Right.
so.
We are looking to do a micro business. It's what we are doing now, which to kind of elaborate on that, we are seed to sale. So we grew our own hemp CBD down at my aunt and uncle's house. Over Uncle Mike, he's our farmer, and my aunt Denise is our product creator. We have our kitchen and the farm down at their house, and then we do the retail and some production up here in the building. And that is a micro business, but with that micro business license, then it would incorporate cannabis. And so we still want to incorporate the business that we have now, and then just add that as a product in to help educate people about in that kind of sense. So a micro business is one retail and one grow, and that's what we're looking for. I also brought my other partner in the cannabis world. Her name is Socorro de Ocampo, and Corey, we call him. And she is also going to be looking for a micro business. There's a social equity aspect that, I don't know if you've heard of this, they're trying to move up the social equity applications. And maybe this summer they're talking about it, but where the store is, it qualifies for the census of 23 for the poverty social equity application. So we'll put it in, but it's, they're only allowing like 100 of them, in the state for that part of the social equity. So we're working on the business plan, and if there's anything that in itself, I don't know if you've looked at the applications, but we gotta make sure our smell is under control, which is something that we obviously want anyways. We don't want the whole town stinking up or somebody's backyard or the kids walking by going to gymnastics, which my kids go there. And so we wanna be very community aware. So with our business plans, we have a lot on our end that we to even be considered for the license that we have to accomplish on a lot of different levels. Security, cameras, the smell, like I was saying, business layouts, security for checking out, security on the premises, that kind of stuff. So really just to be safe. Just want it all to be safe. Oh, speaking of safe, third-party testing. We gotta make sure that our products are tested and that they're up to date and they implemented like the residual solvents and micro-testing of microbials, and so it's a lot more testing on the products, and so it's just a lot of those things that we as a business have to make sure. And then they send people out to make sure that we're following them. So lots of rule following, rule figuring out, and just wanted to be up here and
Well,
say
appreciate
hello.
your coming.
Yeah.
Kind of giving us the whole synopsis. And,
Yeah.
we know that we have to move along and get
Mhm.
all that established, so.
Yeah, so if you have any
As you
questions.
do, keep your eye open what we're doing.
Yeah,
And if we have questions about certain things, if you don't mind, we could use you as a resource also.
absolutely. We threw a couple, Corey helped throw some folders together with some basic info. I don't know if that's appropriate to
Absolutely.
just hand
great.
out to you.
No problem.
Sure, please. Thanks, Corey. So yeah, do you have any other questions or anything I can help you?
We appreciate that.
Potentially in the future.
Yep,
Thank you.
we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
Go. All right. Thanks so much for taking the time for us to be able to talk to you guys.
Like she said, my name is Corey Diocampo. I moved here in 2017 from Colorado. In Colorado, I spent probably most of my formative years, but I grew up and was raised in Michigan. So I'm a Midwest girl all the way, but I was in Colorado for a good 30 years. In that time, my business was Subway. I started working at Subway at $3.35 an hour, worked my way up until I was upper management with the owner who had 35 stores. From there, I did HR for him, and then he decided to downsize to try some other restaurant concepts, so he sold some of his businesses to fund that vision with his upper management. So he basically co-signed loans for me to buy 3 Subway stores. He also extended a personal note for me to buy the stores. So it was 3 stores, is quite a bit, but by that time I had worked from the very bottom all the way up to the top and did everything in between. And so the American dream is, work really hard, pay off those loans, and, you can retire. Unfortunately, I was starting to get sick. My body was starting to break down because of 6-7 days a week, working in stores, because when you have those kind of loans, you have to work hard all the time. And so that finally took a toll. And after 20 years in Subway, which sort of is like hemp business, for every 1 year, it's like 5 years on your body. It really does take a toll. So I was able to sell one of my stores earlier, paying off the other 2, and then eventually I sold my other 2 stores and semi-retired at that point. I was basically burnt out, tired, a lot of pain in the body, and so I found some of the cannabis products once it was legalized for medical use in Colorado. I had my medical license for it, and at that time, it's hard to trust where your product is coming from and being able to afford it. So I learned how to grow it myself. And so I became a medical caregiver. I had 2 other people that I grew for, so it was a very small operation. It was an indoor hydroponic situation. And so, that was a way of how I got into growing cannabis. And I found that I absolutely loved the plant. It's a nice thing to be around a plant that grows so fast and it surrounds you. And it's like farming. It's good for the soul, and I found that I really enjoyed it. Eventually, we moved from Colorado because it got to be too big. The city of Fort Collins, where I'm from, got bigger and bigger until it was 250,000 people, and I remember when I first got there were dirt roads still, but those were all replaced with paved roads and bike trails and all of that. So the city life was too much, and we were also looking for fresh air, and the American Lung Association said that Duluth was the cleanest air in the country, so we were like, well, let's see what we could, let's see the area. And Duluth was too big of a city, so we found ourselves, my husband found a job here in Moose Lake, and we moved into a place out on County Road 10, County Line Road, out there near Telker Road. It's sort of where the chain, I believe, that's probably the closest. So anyways, we have 20 acres out there, and we're planning on doing a micro business. So in your folders, you'll see kind of the differences. There's several different licenses that you can get for cannabis, and we're looking at the micro business. And that's, and you can see above there what that entails. It's different than the meso business. There's also a lot of other licenses. So there's going to be licenses for bud tenders. There's going to be licenses for transporting product. There's going to be there's licenses for wholesalers. There's a lot of different licenses. we'll be applying for the cannabis microbusiness. We do not intend to do retail at this point in time. We want to hone in our grow. So we would like to grow cannabis in our small detached workshop garage. We'll have about 1,200 square feet to work with. And according to the microbusiness, we can have up to 5,000 square feet. Obviously, we do not have the money at this time to do that, so we'd like to start small, get our feet in the water, learn as much as we can, and hone our craft, and keep putting that money back into the business so that we can build a proper building for it, which would probably be a steel pole building kind of situation. But there's a lot involved with that just alone. And on the second page, you'll see some of the cannabis business operational requirements that we're going to be required to do, which is going to be really good for kind of looking at and knowing some of these basic laws. So when you make your own, regulations for the town, you'll kind of know where that is. So that is a quick infographic for you there. I also have in here kind of what the application, it's short, but I wanted you guys to take a look and see what we have to go through to get the license. So you'll know that our ducks are gonna have to be in a row. We have to have our information extremely tight. We have to know exactly how we are going to do security. We are going to have to know all of the operations before we even start. So our application is probably going to be a book. It's going to be a heavy piece of packet of information that they'll be requiring from us. And I believe that my previous business experience with Subway and keeping in track with compliance, not only with Subway, but with health department compliance, I'm well versed in understanding that kind of transparency and allowing people to come into my business, take a look at it, help us with any, issues that we need to shore up, but we are definitely, both of us have really wanted to make sure that it's a transparent process, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of different ideas of what our business is going to be. And, I kind of liken it to like a brewery, microbrewery, but a lot more intense as far as the regulation. And so I definitely want to make sure that we don't step on anybody's toes, that we work hand in hand as with the powers that be, such as yourselves, to make those rules and to make sure that you know where we are at and in that kind of situation. I also I have put in here our environmental impacts plan. I know it's a little bit heavy, but I wanted you to just kind of see what a grow is and what that is about. Hydroponics is there's a lot of different ways you can do hydroponics. And we've researched a lot of different types. And we really wanted to make sure that our impacts on the environment are very minimal. We want to make sure that we are, I want to be a leader in how it's done right. And so to do that, we have to consider all of our waste, everything that we use and how we use it and how it goes back into the environment. So we've decided to go with aeroponics, which uses about 95% less water than outdoor grows. And I can't remember how much percent less than other forms of hydroponics. Basically, it sprays the root zone specifically instead of having lots of water coming in and out. So you have very little wastewater, and we plan on having our wastewater go to a community source garden down the line. And then with the waste product of the plant itself, the inert parts, which are fiber, stuff that you probably make rope out of, we're planning on either composting or saving for a vision of mine. You might not have heard of it. It's called Hempcrete. It's a product, a byproduct of the hemp and cannabis industry. And it's pretty exciting. If you haven't heard of Hempcrete, definitely look it up. It's very cool. But that's not our main priority. Our main priority is to make sure that we're within the law, that we're sustainable, and we also want to make sure that youth prevention is a big part of our mission. And as such, we have committed 2%, should we get our license, 2% to go back to the community. And we're thinking about going back to the community is a very vague thing. It's like lip service. What does that mean? That basically means that we have lots of government programs, private and public, that can help with youth prevention, whether that's bringing in and paying for people to come in and talk to our schools about youth prevention and what exactly are the effects of cannabis on youth, because they are. It's profound, and we want to make sure that we educate. And the best part of, being able to look at youth prevention is education, just point blank education. And along with that education is mental health. So we want to do youth prevention and mental health is our big things for what we want to divert our 2% into. And hopefully we can collaborate with, other people in the area. And I know that we're not the only ones in the cannabis business that want to do that. I belong to a women's cannabis network. And there's 2 women who own a business called MN Technologies, and it's in Cohasset. So they are developing a huge wholesale business, and they are committing 2% as well. So I'm finding that we're not the only people in the cannabis industry who find that youth prevention is a priority. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys know that, we are in the business to make a little money, but we're also in the business to support with that money our communities, and hopefully being able to have a storefront, like Holistic Wellness, that's already in process. They know what they're doing. They're going to be able to adapt quickly to the laws because they've been in it for a good long time. So that's where we are on that. Do you guys have any questions for me? I know I spoke a long time, but.
Yes. Where is this going to be located? You said County Road 10.
Yes.
So that you're within the city limits?
It is, we're in Moose Lake Township. Our
Yeah,
address
because-
is Sturgeon Lake, but we vote here.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you do all your licensing, you will be going through the township.
So, I'm in the
Yeah.
right place, right?
No.
This information is good for us to have and to know, but eventually I think your address is in the township. So you will have to go to the township board when you do all the licensing. Unless that goes to the county, because a lot of times township things are under the county auspices. And that I don't know, but that's something you can look up.
Because I've already checked with the Carlton County zoning, and we're zoned for agriculture, forestry, so they said we're good. But they're like you and still have a lot to figure out as far as how you want to go forward with it.
Yeah.
So
If you sold within the city limits, then you would do the licensing here, or if you grew within the city. But the information that you have, if you don't mind, I'd like to keep.
it's totally for you to keep, and I have tons more. I've spent the last 4 months full-time researching the law, researching the feasibility of it, because
Yeah.
I'm not coming out of retirement unless I know that it's a good thing and I have fire in my belly and I believe in
But
what
I
we're
think,
doing.
I think you do need to talk to the township. Do we have the date that they meet? They do the next,
They just had a big one last night, so I'm not sure exactly when their next meeting is.
So
I
we'll
can
go
certainly
in
look.
township. Well, this is a good way to break myself into talking.
They do
about
meet
it.
here, so you'd be coming in.
if they use this building, and they do vote here, township voting, and we just put a divider up where we vote on the other side, but, right, they will have their meeting here.
Do you know when they hold that?
Byron, do you have an idea of when the township meets?
It's either second or third Wednesday, I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Thank you. So, but I'm still here, and so if you were in the area, like if you guys need any kind of information, again, Brianna and I, we're working together because we believe that collaborating is way better than competing, and, we want to make money for our county, because knowing that I understand stuff going on with the police department, and if we could just generate enough tax dollars without having to raise taxes, that would mean a lot. That would, a little bit of cash influx in this town would be wonderful.
Now, the ordinance that you will be under will probably be under the county. I'm not sure how the township ordinances are written. I don't know if the two gentlemen from the township know. You follow pretty much the county, any ordinances, right? You don't have any of your own for township?
Well, what I do know, generally the township ordinances have to meet or exceed county level.
Okay.
And their meeting is at 5 p.m. in the community center here on the third Wednesday of each month.
Okay,
And I've got the clerk's phone number, I can get you that, her name and number, so, yeah.
So if you guys don't have any other questions, I can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 6D. This is the 2023 Public Safety Aid Moose Lake Area Fire District allocation request. And discussion on that. I think there was a hint to me to table this.
Yeah, just because the information that you just shared right before the meeting just came out, and it'd be great to have a good discussion. We don't have the city administrator here. It'd be just nice to have a little bit of time to digest it, since we do not have to make a designation yet.
I do know that, which I can give out, we did designate $100,000 to the police department contract, but there is dollars beyond that can be available. And how much, that'll be your decision after, if that's what the decision is. I'm gonna make a motion to table.
I would make a motion to table it for this month and give us all an opportunity to talk to the city administrator and ask any questions if there is any of the fire district as well.
Do I have a second? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. That item will be tabled, so please put it for next month's agenda. Moving on to 6E, ordinance number 173, an ordinance amending the city's ordinance requiring the sale and consumption of intoxicating liquors to repeal fair market value conditions on liquor license applications. I can give a little history on this. A city administrator back in the 1990s, it could have been early 2000s, put a dollar amount on the type of restaurant or business that would come in here, and he put it at $1 million value. And evidently the council did not check with the state on that motion to put into the ordinance. And Alyssa, in her research for this application, found out that that's illegal. We can't do that. You can't put a dollar limit or a dollar amount on a business like that. So we have to amend our ordinance. And I think that is on page 59.
Correct.
So Ryan, any more than that?
I think my understanding is that it only takes once, so it wouldn't be 3 months of going through it.
Yeah, we have to make a correction on that. So it is on section 1 subdivision for market value, that subdivision for a motion to, how would you say that?
Strike it.
Strike it from the
I'll make that
ordinance.
motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So that will be corrected and then put into our ordinance. Moving on to 6F, J&M display proposal, 4th of July fireworks display. We have a contract, well, if you pass that tonight, for $12,000 for the same company to do the fireworks. Again, as we have had in the last couple of years, I think you all know that the state law changed and the fire departments no longer do this. The licensing is different. It's a little stricter, the storage of the fireworks. And you have to have somebody volunteering actually for the fire department to do it. And as had time to change, those people that had the licenses have left. And I know Jim is here, and it takes time. If you volunteer to it, especially on the holidays, I know one of the restriction is no alcohol use for longer than a 24-hour period, I believe, and stuff like that. Restrictions that certain people didn't want to do anymore. And you can't blame them, they want to be with their families and enjoy the 4th of July evening. So with that, do we have a motion to accept the J&M display proposal?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 6G, facility lease agreement, Independent School District number 97. This is for the baseball fields.
Can we take this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. City administration is always looking for ways to continue to facilitate and provide these services for the community. We have been looking at ways just to recoup some of the expenses that we use in order to facilitate these things. So we've been meeting with the school district. I know the Home Run Club's on there right after, kind of the same thing. So this is a lease agreement to utilize the fields. It is a 2-year agreement, and we are simply looking to just break even with this, not to actually make revenue. So this will help us continue to be able to do these things at a level that we feel is safe and equitable and good for the community. So if there are any questions, the school district is already brought this to their financial committee and it was approved, and to their board, so it was approved. Something we have not done in the past.
So it's good. It's $3,500 a year,
That's correct.
which helps take care of those fields.
Yeah.
Do you have a motion? Yes, sir.
Question. Is this lease agreement, was this vetted out by our attorneys, or who wrote the lease agreement?
So we used kind of a draft that Willow River already had in place. So there's a owner of the fields there that leases his fields to the Willow River School. So a lot of the components in here is from them, and then also, I believe, some legal individuals at the school looked it over as well. So not our attorneys, just reusing an agreement, changing some things, a few things up in it.
And the only other thing I saw that looks nice to have in there, obviously, was the insurance being provided in case somebody was injured.
Right, correct.
So,
Motion from the council?
I'll make that motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Any further questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We also have the same agreement with the Rebels Home Run Club. Ryan, any more to add?
Yeah,
into
the only
that?
difference is the pricing and then the dates that they would utilize the fields. And they use one additional field actually as well. But they're a nonprofit, so, I mean, we look at all things, again, we won't quite break even on this one, but we feel that this is a good price point to start with the Home Run Club.
We should be mentioned that we've never had agreement in the past, so this is something new and it is bringing money into the
Correct.
program for us to take care of them. Otherwise, they had been just utilized for free. So this is a good step in a good direction. Do we have open for discussion and or motion?
It's the same language, correct?
Correct?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under 7, reports and correspondence. A, comprehensive housing needs analysis for Carleton County. And that is starting on page 72. This is for your review and information. It kind of confirms what we've heard in the past. Almost every single housing study that's ever been done, it's the same thing, lacking housing. So our project is even more important to people coming in and working here. In fact, that was another item. Did you see that on the chamber? Concern about housing for people working at DOC, MSOP. There's a little bit of information that they're on that. One of their main concerns that they wanted to bring to their discussion groups within the facilities is local housing. So it makes our project even more important and viable. Moving on to 7B, Carleton County Drug Prevention Coalition meeting minutes, March 4th, 2024. Do you have anything on that, Brian, you want to add to it? Just that the group that met and the information given. For your information. Well, there was a contact number at the very beginning, but if you need it, we can get it for you. Moving on to number C, Minnesota Department of Natural Resources final DNR approval of floodplain ordinance. So the ordinance information that we put together here has been approved and accepted by the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, which was a good job on that. Taylor, do you have any more information you want to give on that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, that's good.
It was a good job. There's a lot of work in putting it together and getting it approved. That approval of the floodplain ordinance is something. Do we have a copy here?
Is it in the packet?
Not only it's not in the packet, but we do have it filed already.
Already up in the office, yes. We
And
don't have
we
one
need
down
to-
here, but up there.
We need to distribute it to the fire department. You guys should have a copy of it. I know the county will have one, but that's something that we're gonna have to make sure they have also because it's specific to our city.
Sure.
And with the change in who is here for the policing, they're gonna have to know what's in that floodplain ordinance also. And I'm not sure how that's gonna work as time goes on with the next incident that we have. The mayor, whoever that is, will be calling the emergency, but the coordination may be different. It'll be with the county and with the fire department. That's something that has to be worked out yet. So that'll come up during the the negotiations.
Should you prefer just email that to?
Moving on to 7D, St. Luke's and Asperus affiliation letter, Chris Johnson. Anything on that you'd like to add to it,
And further, and
other than the notification
Yep.
and your commitment to the area? 7E, letter to the editor, former police chief Dale Heaton. That is on page 107. And on 7F, letter to the city council in support of former police chief Dale Heaton, a concerned Moose Lake citizen. Anyone have any comments or wish to state anything? Hearing none, thank you both. Thank you, Dale, and thank you for the concerned citizen. If I hear no other comments, I'll move on. Hearing none, we'll go on to number 8, committee and board meeting minutes. 8A, Moose Lake Area Fire Protection District meeting minutes for February 13th, 2024. Under 8B, Park and Recreational Board meeting minutes, March 4th, 2024. Any discussion or questions on those two meeting minutes? I know the administrator was at the last meeting, and I hope some of those issues are worked out. Jim, do you have anything to bring forward to us?
No, I don't.
And
Our
I'd
board
like-
made, I don't. I'm just fire chief, I don't make decisions for our board.
Okay. Well, hopefully things are working out and things, whatever the issues are smoothed out and worked out. Public safety is a huge thing to have a fire department in the community, and it's such a critical element that you want any issues should be worked out, and things should be very smooth with the governing bodies, us and the township with the fire department. It is such a critical element. The council, any questions or comments? Moving on to number 9, announcements. Local Board of Appeals and Equalization meeting Thursday, April 4th. Remember, we do have to have a quorum, so I hope that the council members are there. And I think, Doug, you and I are still the two that have the training for it.
Yes.
Moving on to regular Moose Lake City Council meeting Wednesday, April 10th, 4 p.m. right here, Moose Lake Economic Development Authority. Wednesday, March 20th, 12 p.m. in the city conference room. Moose Lake Water and Light Commissioner regular meeting Tuesday, March 19th, 1 p.m. at the Water and Light office. Moose Lake Housing Redevelopment Authority Board Monday, April 8th, 11 a.m. Hillside Manor office. Moose Lake Area Fire District Tuesday, April 9th, 6:30 p.m. Emergency Response Center. Moose Lake Park Board Monday, April 1st, 5 p.m. at the, right here. Just one item, I just wanted information for Jim. I know that there's a discussion came up on the room that the police, or let's say, the city and fire district worked out. I don't know if there's confusion on that, but the city did build an office in the southwest corner of the building in place for that room at city expense, and they did put the door in, and I think they fixed the wall. I don't know if that got lost in the,
Like I said,
okay,
I'm staying out of the politics part of that whole thing.
okay. But just so just something that I know, because it happened during the time I was mayor, and I know that we discussed it for quite in depth, and then we finally voted here to build that room in replacement to get I think what they wanted, they called it an interview room for people that were brought in to question. And maybe that's all, or just hopefully that helps some of the issues. Other than that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.